Alright, so I just laid this track line here through this semi-thick stuff here. So I'll take a walk. Again, this is not the best of circumstances for aerial sport anyway, just because it's so easy to follow the tracks in the snow. If it was just leaves, it'd probably be a better demonstration, but just to try and show you guys, you know, what some of it looks like. Let's take a walk here. Alright, backtrack right here so you guys can see this. Right here, we got a clean break on this branch. So that's considered aerial spore. You need to be looking for things like this as well. But just like I said in the last video, aerial spore is good and you can follow that, but you want to always try and confirm that with ground spore. So looking at that right from the top, see if you can see that or not. We've got a track right here beside it in the snow. So that's just where I brushed up against it on my way by. It's a dead branch, so it just snapped off. But again, clean break. It's going to be bright because it's new, and obviously them things are going to change, you know, over time and weather and stuff like that. Also, you can see it on the ground right here. That's another piece that was broken off. Again, 2 new edges on it. Alright, coming up to the log. Again, it's in the snow, so it's not a big deal, but let's see if you guys can see that. We got some transference. It's just snow to snow, but if you guys can see them spots there, that's just from the bottom of my shoe when I stepped over it and the snow fell off my boot. If it was water or something like that, you know, the same type of thing would happen. So continuing on here. Went right through this thick stuff. Again, there's good tracks on the ground, obviously. In this case here, I don't see any aerial spore on these branches, so we'll just push through. Right here on the ground, here's one that was broken off. If you looked at the end of it there, again, it's a nice clean break, so it's bright wood on the underneath side there. There's another one up here that's been broken off, and you can see right underneath this one there's a footprint underneath. So this branch came from up high, otherwise it'd probably be broken right here where that footprint is. You know, just different ways to tell things, guys. Alright, another one going over the log here. We got a partial print right here on top of the log, but this branch right next to it has also been broke. I don't see any big stuff around where it was broken off an actual tree. So this one was probably just on the ground and I stepped on it, so it broke there. I'll try to show you the end of that. So again, nice clean break. It's fresh on the end, as well as this little one over here. So those were probably part of the same branch there. Alright, coming through, and you know, different times of the season. Let me zoom out. This stuff will jump right out to you guys, you know, if you're practicing it and you know what you're looking for. Right away, right here, the end of this one here was broke on the way through. And again, that's aerial spore, so to confirm that with some ground spore, we have a track right here. I got another one. Another branch right here, broken off. You guys can see that. Again, clean break. It's fairly new, so the color of it is going to be, you know, like a new wood. And I think that's where we stopped, out in the open. So that's just some different, you know, aerial spoor and things you guys need to look for. And like I said, usually you're gonna see something like that. Almost took a digger there. You're gonna see stuff like that, you know, if somebody's breaking brush, and it's always gonna be broken, obviously, in the direction of travel. So as people are walking, you know, you tend to break sticks away from your face and stuff like that. So it could be hanging, it could be broke off, and you need to look at stuff on the ground like that as well for when you may step on things and stuff like that. Let's see if I can get it here. So I just stepped on that. So we got a footprint here. This piece has been broken off and separated from it now. So that's just another sign and something you guys need to pay attention to if you're on a track line. Alright, so did the best I could, you know, being that there's snow on the ground, try to show you guys some of these different things that we've been talking about over the past few videos. So before I close this one out, I told you guys I would demonstrate, you know, walking backwards and walking forwards just to compare the two and what they'll look like to you guys. So just give me a second, I'll go ahead and do that. We'll spin the camera around and take a look, so stay with me. Alright, so I'm not sure if you guys can see this really well or not. But on this left hand side, coming up here, is where I walked, you know, regular in a forward direction. Then just to the right of it is where I walked backwards. So let's take a closer look at that and see if we can tell any differences. Alright, so this is a left foot on the track that I walked straight. So if you guys can see it, right at the front, at the terminal point, that snow's kicking up in the direction of travel. So, take a look at the next one. The same thing, primary impact point here in the back. Got our foot roll here. And then again, the terminal point in the front with the snow kicking forward, direction of travel. Alright, this one, a little bit tricky, but again, this is powdery snow, so you got to take that into consideration. Actually, this looks like I kind of dragged my foot before I put it down. So that could tell you different things. Maybe somebody's getting tired, you know, they're injured maybe, or whatever the case may be. But that's probably me just being lazy and dragging my feet. But again, the actual footprint itself, got some kick off the side here. This one, not so much in the front, you know, the kick off, but this is still the same track line where I was walking forward. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, the right foot. Can't really talk to each other here on video, but I was going to ask you guys, you know, what looked different about this one than the other ones. My answer is the dwell time in this footprint. You can see how the pattern really stands out to you. The edges are pretty crisp and clear. So I left my foot there, you know, a bit longer than any of these other ones. So that's what happened there. Again, in the front, if you can see it, the snow's kicked off in the direction of travel. The next one, you know, pretty much the same thing. Quick step here. Not so much a good pattern on the tread of my boot. Again, we got some kickoff and some transference. It's just snow to snow, but you can see where the snow fell off the front of my foot in the direction of travel. Alright, again right here, got lazy, probably dragged my foot a bit before I stepped. Pretty pronounced foot roll in this one, right here in the middle. And again, I stepped off around this little tree here to the left, and you can see that by the front where I picked my foot up at the terminal point heading off in that direction. And we'll end it there. Let's move back and we'll take a look at this one where I walked backwards. Alright, so starting from the front, actually I failed to explain in that last one, and I broke the golden rule of never walk on ground spore. So I just contaminated the crap out of this one where I walked forward, but that was just demonstration showing you guys. But now I can't show you the difference in the stride. But again, you've seen in my last video, the stride was, you know, regular in pattern. I have a slight positive pitch in my feet, and my straddle, everything in those action indicators had a regular rhythm and balance to them. So let's take a look at this one where I was walking backwards. My first print is actually under this little tree here. My next one is almost right away. I don't know if you can see it, but now the primary impact point, because I'm walking backwards, is actually the front of my foot. Not so much of a foot roll here. And then in the back, we got some kickoff there. I'm going to try to stay off this one so I can show you guys some of the differences. Alright, right away we got another print. They're fairly close together. Same thing. This one, not so much of a, it's what we call a heel drag. It's not really there in this one. Next one, you can see it a little better. I kind of dragged my foot going into this one, as well as coming out. This one has a pretty pronounced heel drag to it. But if you can notice already right off the bat, the stride is a lot shorter as opposed to going forward. Here's the next print. That would be a left foot, and again the heel is all jacked up back here where I took my foot up to make the next step. Same thing on this one. Really not getting a pronounced foot roll, so to speak. Again, in the back here, you know, quite a good heel drag going on with that one. This one, I actually stepped on a branch. If the snow wasn't here, you'd be able to pick this up, you know, just like we talked about with aerial spore. This is still ground spore, but you can see where there's some fresh, clean breaks, you know, and you're going to need that at times to pick up the spore where it doesn't leave, you know, a good footprint. But again, we got some heel drag in the back. Also, again, you know, the steps are very close together because it's going backwards. Alright, next one, same thing. This one's actually leaning in towards that edge more. You got a thicker wall here. You guys can't see that, but so we got a thicker wall on this side, so kind of off balance there, and so on and so forth. The next one, you know, again, same deal. This one has got the same, you know, steeper wall on one side, so I was probably leaning more on that side of my foot opposed to the other. Quite a good heel drag here. I'm sure you guys can see that or not, but alright, next one again, footprints close together, pronounced heel drag, and it would just continue on like that. So let's take a walk back, try to look at it from afar here, see if we can see anything. Alright, not sure you guys can pick this up, but when I walked forward, I pretty much had a you know, a positive pitch in that the front of my feet were pointing out away from the center. These, if you can tell, they're almost straight. So not that I went pigeon-toed, but I went more towards a negative pitch than a positive pitch when I was walking backwards. The rhythm and balance is totally off. The stride is nowhere near the same in any one of these footprints. You got this one under the tree here. Right away, another one. These two are actually closer than the first two. And we got a space again between the next stride. Closer again between the next two. So it seems like going from right foot to left foot backwards is a lot closer than left to right is. So you can see the spacing on these two again now. So again, not the best of mediums to show you guys this stuff. Snow, obviously you can pick up the tracks pretty easily, but it would work better in some type of dirt or sand, you know, to demonstrate it to you guys anyway. But hopefully I did good enough where you guys can understand what I'm talking about. You know, opposed from walking forward or backwards, there's a distinct difference. It's easy to pick up, you know, as long as you have a fairly decent medium where you can see all these different things that are going on. So again, walking backwards, that whole rhythm and balance is just off. The pitch angle's a lot different. The stride is dramatically different. The dwell times, like I said, they change. You're not getting as much of a pronounced foot roll in the prints themselves. So hopefully that did it, and you guys are grasping what we're talking about now as far as those action indicators go and stuff like that. Alright guys, so that's going to end this video. Just figured, you know, it was time to get out, you know, try to put some of this terminology and, you know, the different things we've discussed in the past videos to practical application, and actually give you guys a visual on what some of the stuff looks like. So appreciate you guys tuning in, having a good time making this series. There's still a lot more to come, so stick around.